Maybe you saw the previous video on how to get started with EKS and vCluster, and then you also saw the blog post and you went and you tried it out and you ran into some issues. Well, here's an updated video showing you how to do it now, and we're also going to be talking about the new vCluster platform 4.0, and we're going to get it deployed and everything running, and we're going to go ahead and have success on EKS. So let's go ahead and get started and check out how it's done. So here's the EKS blog post that we were talking about. There's some configuration and setup and some information that you can actually still check out that's relevant. But once you get down to the creating and setting up the EKS cluster, we're going to have issues with the creating the service account and then the add-on. So instead of using this, what we're going to do is use the built-in add-on section within the eksctl YAML and make it a little bit easier. So here's the example that I'm using. You can go ahead and use this to create your EKS cluster if you want to. Looking at the add-ons, this is where you're going to need to make sure that you've got the policy and stuff set up correctly. And then after we've created a cluster with this, you're going to need to set up storage. So with the storage class, we're going to need to go ahead and set up the GP3 storage class. Make sure it's default so it doesn't try to use GP2. And then once we've done that, let's go ahead and create a cluster. So we're going to create the cluster here, but there's going to be a little bit of magic involved that makes it go a lot faster because it's going to take like, 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes to get this done. So I sped this up a little bit. But we're creating based off the exact same configuration file. If you want to access that configuration file, check out the description and go over to GitHub, and I've got that set up in examples. I've got a configuration for eksctl, and then I've also got a configuration for the storage class. So just copy both of those, deploy with them. If you run into issues, let us know, reach out on Slack. That information's in the description too. Once your EKS cluster is deployed, you can go ahead and create the storage. So we're going to create this off of the GP3 YAML, and what that's going to do is create a GP3 storage class, and it's going to set it as default. If we check here, we can see GP2 and GP3. GP3 is default. Great, that's what we want. And then from here, you have two options. So you can go over to the vCluster docs, and you can just deploy a virtual cluster into your EKS cluster, which you can actually follow documentation here. It's going to show you how to set up the command line and then show you how to actually create a virtual cluster. Or you can do what we're going to do in a minute, which is deploy the platform. So you can go over to the docs for vCluster platform version 4.0. And it's just as easy as saying vCluster platform start, which we're going to show on the command line here in a second and bring up the UI and then create a virtual cluster. So here we're going to type out vCluster platform start, and then with a little bit of editing magic, I'm going to make it go a little bit faster. If you notice here, it says this can take up to several minutes. Well, it's not going to take several minutes for us. We're just going to go ahead and like skip ahead. So once it's finished, it's going to go ahead and give us the login information. It's going to give us a host that we can go ahead and access, and then it'll want us to complete our profile. So I'm just going to put my information in here. Mike Peterson. I work at Loft Labs, and then I'm going to say finish, and then go ahead and check out the UI. So from here, we can create a new virtual cluster. And we're going to select a template for this. We're going to select the Pro template, and we're going to name it vCluster Platform EKS Demo. And then we're going to make sure it's on the local cluster, and then we're going to go ahead and create it. And then within like a minute or so, it'll come up, and it's going to be accessible because we're using the correct storage. And we can go ahead and drill down into different options within the virtual cluster, like it'll show apps, namespaces, pods, deployments, stateful sets, services, and so on. So basically, super quick demo to show off how to actually get deployed on EKS. Please check out the vCluster platform if you want to see a UI and you want to try out the free trial. If you want more information on any of this, you can reach out to us on Slack. The information to join Slack is below. Thanks for checking out this video. We should have more vCluster tips coming up soon. If you have any suggestions on what kind of video you'd like to see next or issues that you're running into with vCluster that I can make a little bit easier for you, let me know in the comments. If you want to say anything else in the comments, let us know.